Hi, this is Majnu, and I would like to ask you to think about this position. It's position number 23 of the middle game training. So you can pause the video if you like, and then take about 10 to 15 minutes to think about a good plan for white. What would you play here with white? I'll continue my explanation in a moment. So alright, I suppose you paused the video and you had a good look about this position, and before I give you the complete solution to this example, I'm going to give you just a small hint, just in case that you found this position a bit too difficult to think about and to make a good plan. Perhaps this can help you. We see that the center is completely fixed, right? It's completely a closed center, so that means that we need to find play either on the queen side or the king side. And I want you to think about what the weakest point of the white position is. What do you think is the main weakness in white's camp, and how could white get rid of this weakness? By playing on the king side or by playing on the queen side? Just take a good look. You can pause the video again if you like, and I'll give you the answer of this exercise in a few seconds. Alright, so perhaps you took your second chance to have a good look here. And what happened in this game, by the way, it's again a game by Viktor Korchnoi playing with white here, this time against Wolfgang Ullmann in 1960. Here actually the problem for white is this weakness on b3. That's the weakest point in white's position. Black is placing quite some pressure over there, and perhaps the pressure can become even more if this pawn starts dancing, for example, or perhaps black will try to trade this pawn for this pawn by advancing in, so then a new weakness is created on c4, things like that. Now playing on the king side would be useless. I mean, if white advances the f pawn, then this black would take, and then this diagonal is opened, so that would absolutely be better for black. So the solution to this situation is what Korchnoi did. He played the move b4. By playing b4, he makes the square b3 available for his knight from c1. And what's the idea? The idea is to bring this knight to b3, to a5, and then to this beautiful square c6. You see, this is a very logical plan by white. Of course, Korchnoi must have made good calculations before making this decision. Is it possible that black takes here? What happens then? What if we can take on c5 or not? And all those type of variations must be calculated, of course. Now here his opponent took on b4, and then white replied the knight to b3 as planned. Of course, he could also have taken on b4. There is nothing wrong with that, but the only thing is that if we take here on b4, then black can try to get some counterplay by advancing the f pawn to f5, by playing f5 here. So then he starts getting more space on the king side and start some adventures there. So what Korchnoi did is first he improved the position of his pieces by playing knight to b3, threatening to go to a5 on c6, and being actually sure that later he's going to capture the b4 pawn anyway. Black, of course, took his chance to try to find some counterplay with f5, but now knight to a5 is very strong. You see, by waiting with this capture on b4, white is actually much stronger, because he's threatening to bring his knight to c6, attacking the queen, so winning a tempo, and also eventually threatening a check on e7. Let's have a look at what happened in the rest of the game. It's not that long, so I'm going to show you the whole game here. Black played f4. Now white must be a bit careful, so bishop to f2. Rook to b6 was played now, and now this is an important moment. We cannot take on b6, of course. Bishop takes b6, queen takes b6, check, king h1, queen takes a5. So that would be a blunder. So what white did here is simply he continued building up the pressure by playing rook f2 b1, building up pressure against the b4 pawn. Now black played knight to e8, and white continued with his original plan, bringing this knight from a5 to c6, attacking the queen. The queen went to c7, and here comes a check on e7, and after king to h8, white is actually making use of the fact that the black queen on c7 is overloaded. It's actually has too many tasks. She needs to defend c8 and also to defend b6. So this is the moment for white to gain material, to win material with knight takes c8, and after queen takes c8, bishop takes b6. Now knight takes b6, queen takes b4. So if we count the pieces, we can see that white is up the exchange, and well, the c4 pawn is falling, that's true, but that's not that dangerous, because after the queens go off, and that's what happened in the game, black played queen takes c4, and then white traded. So without queens we get closer to an endgame with two very active rooks. The last move of the game was rook to b8, actually placing this rook on an even more active position. This pawn, this a pawn, is not going to become dangerous. Black's pieces are simply too far away, and this bishop is buried there in the chain of his own pawns, so it's actually very difficult to get some activity with this bishop. And well, in this position actually Wolfgang Ullmann resigned, so this was the final position of the game. Now what's the most instructive part about this example? I find it, if we return to the beginning position right here, actually the way of thinking in this type of positions is, on one hand, thinking, well, the center is closed, so white must make a choice either to play on the king side or on the queen side. Second thing to be aware of is the weakness of b3. The rook and the knight are both tied to the defense of this pawn. And then the third idea is what would be an ideal square for one of the knights. And if we then can imagine one of the knights being on c6, then we can start making a plan how to get a knight there. And then we can find this move b4 to bring this knight to this beautiful square c6. So that's the way that we must think during a chess game. Take a good look at what are the characteristics of a position, what is going on, what are weaknesses and what are possibilities to dissolve these weaknesses and place our pieces in very strong squares. Alright, I'll leave it up to here, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, then press on the like button. I like it very much to see how many people appreciate my videos. So I'll just say goodbye now, and I'll see you next time. Alright, thanks for watching, and bye bye.